Alright, on this lesson we're talking about angle side angle postulate to start out with. That is when the segment that is included between two angles is what's congruent. So in this case the segment GH is between angles G and angles H, which are shown to be congruent. So this is angle side angle because of that. So when I look at this first example, the triangles that would be congruent by angle side angle would be this one on the left, where the segment is between the two angles that are shown to be congruent, and this one on the top. This one over here on the right is not angle side angle because the side is not between the two angles, N and I. So my answer for this first example would be triangle CAT is congruent to triangle. Now you got to make sure your pieces match. So where I use C first, I'm going to need to use G first on this statement. A was second, so I need to use D second to make sure parts correspond, and then T corresponds to O. And this would be by angle side angle postulate. And that wraps up the first example. And the last way that I'm going to talk about in this lesson to show that triangles are congruent is the angle side theorem. And what that states is that simply the two angles that are congruent, if the side is not between them, the triangles are still congruent. In this case you can see that DM is not included between the angles D and C, but neither is the side over here on this triangle, but these triangles are congruent by angle side theorem, so we'll abbreviate that as AAS. You can see me using this on this proof where I've already set up my given over here on the right from this information here on the left, and I have this diagram. Something they've already shown in this diagram is that the angles are congruent because of the bisector here. If I highlight angle SRQ that's being bisected, it says by segment RP, then that's the reason why these are your two congruent angles. I'm going to name these in my proof really quick, which would be, for instance, angle SRP, that'd be the one on the inside just to the left here, is congruent to angle QRP. And what that does is because of definition of an angle bisector. And now what I'm going to do is actually find a pair of congruent sides. And whenever you got triangles sharing a side like this, you're typically going to use reflexive property, which would be for segment PR here. So segment PR is congruent to segment PR is something I would actually say on my proof, which is by the reflexive property. Something that is congruent to itself, that's because of reflexive property. And now I'm ready to show these triangles are finally congruent. When I look back at my proof, I have one pair of angles, a second pair of angles, and a pair of sides. Now this one is angle side because the side that was congruent was not included between the two angles S and R there. So I'm going to be using angle side here as my justification to make my proof statement for triangles are congruent. So triangle SRP is congruent to triangle QRP by angle side. This wraps up the proof because I've reached the statement that I was supposed to prove, that was the triangles were congruent. Now proofs is something that's really tough to learn on a YouTube video, so if you have questions you need to contact me, and also it's just better to be in class for me to be able to talk this through with you. Thank you very much.